What I'm going to try to do is take you on a quick journey of how big data is changing everything. And what is big data? The challenge here is not having a lot of data. The challenge was, how do you process a lot of data to get to causation and correlation fast enough to act on the data? If you take a lot of data and let a few machines run it for the next 6 months, you'll get every answer you want. But how relative is it 6 months from now? So with cloud computing and all the processing power, now we can take mass amount of data and try to really understand causation and correlation, which is the key of big data. We've had big data in the e-commerce world for quite a long time. You go online, you shop on Amazon, and you buy something, and right away it tells you, hey, you might like this and that. And that's a lot of big data, right? They're looking at similar baskets, similar behaviors, your demographic, and they're trying to figure out what would be something applicable to you. Now there's a shift. Big data is actually making it into brick and mortar. So we're going to see a lot more big data application in retail, in restaurants. We have so many data points now about consumers on every single visit that we're able to fine-tune more and more what's driving their behavior. How do we understand better what brought them here, what keeps them here? How do we make them talk about our brand? How do you communicate to them that opting in, that participating, that telling you more about themselves benefits them? How do you make sure it's not Big Brother? So let's kind of define the two. Big Brother is a way to spy on someone without their consent to try to manipulate and kind of influence their life in either malicious or non-malicious way. But what's big data? We're still collecting a lot of data about customers without their knowledge. But what are we trying to do? We're trying to lower the cost of acquisition. We're trying to get to the point that it's cheaper for me to get to the right customer with the right message to create the right kind of transaction. So what's the value proposition for consumers? Reduce cost. If it's cheaper for me to talk to you, if it's more targeted, if I can reach you in a more cost-effective way, I can pass that to you. You as consumer get stronger buying power. I propose that you look at data acquisition as a long-term engagement. Look at it as dating, right? You came here for the first time, I learned a little bit about you. You leave some breadcrumbs behind about the information that how you buy, what you like to eat, what you like to wear. But every time you come in, my job is to continue collecting those breadcrumbs. Eventually, we'll have a nice loaf of bread that describes the customer. What you buy starts defining who you are, right? If I go to a restaurant and I have a kid's meal on my order, there's probably a kid involved in the transaction. Could be a nephew, could be a son, could be a daughter. We don't know yet. But time will tell through the transactions what's my relationship with this child. Big data really allows us to shift from a culture of asking to a culture of gathering. I also see that in the near future, marketing and IT will be one. They have to be one. Everything we do now in marketing is technology related. If you have an IT department that doesn't understand technology in the aspect of marketing, doesn't understand what marketing has to interact with and deal with and support, then you've got a barrier. And that barrier is going to prevent you from doing your job. With this data comes also changes to your KPIs, to your key performance indicators. What are you looking at as a business to know if your business is healthy has to change as well. Results don't always tell the story. And in the story is where you're going to learn about your customer. Think about a world where baseball players are all measured on who gets the most home runs this season. Quantitatively, person with the highest number wins. But are they the best baseball player? Doesn't it matter how many times they were at bat? If two players had 100 home runs, one was at bat 1,000 times, one 500 times, is 100 the same result? So the story matters. The story matters more than the results. Sometimes you'll have marketing that, based on results, don't work. But in the story, they worked. They prevented negative trends that might have started because of other data that you were able to collect. You might find out that being down 3% is the best thing happening to your business right now, because without your marketing, you've been down 9%. There's a desire right now from every company I talk to get into one-on-one marketing, right? Think about this concept. I can talk to every customer the way they want to be talked to. I can deliver them the message they want to hear, and they're going to create the action I want them to take. Utopia, right? It's like the dream. That dream is attainable today. It's attainable because we have technology. So think about next time you see an email about a favorite menu item or a new menu item in a restaurant. The messaging of how that menu item is describing the product to you might be different for every person. It might be triggered that one person here is gluten-free. So the same item that might be promoted for their free-range chicken will actually focus a lot on the gluten-free aspect of it in the messaging that goes to you. Another person might be, I love spicy food. And there's a spicy element in this food. So the whole highlight and description will focus around spicy. I love avocado. And if there's avocado in that product, maybe I'll use a different photo to highlight an angle that catches that fresh avocado that will make me want to buy that product. Technology is now at a place that can actually accommodate that. But the challenge is always was and continue will be operationalizing it. The pitfalls you have to avoid is, yes, while you're delivering a message in one-to-one, how do you maintain a consistent delivery, consistent action? So my example in the food item was very applicable. Same item, same quality, made the same way, explained 3 different ways to different people. Operation can execute. They're not going to disappoint. If you come in and order that menu item, it doesn't matter who ordered it, they're going to get the product they expect. I think customers want to be engaged, but they want to be engaged with a message that is unique, deeply understanding of their needs. If you're offering me, clothes for tall and large men, well, I'm not tall and large, so why aren't you learning from my shopping behavior? I'm not. You have to learn how to operationalize the data to actually engage the customer. So the future of marketing is interception. If you had a small kid and it's your first kid, you probably don't know until about 4 months you're going to have a lot of sleepless nights because of teething issues. A company on top of data might predict that. And what they're going to do is they're going to send it about 2-month-old baby. They're going to send you a little package, a little care package, and say, hey, here's a good night's sleep on us. You might not need it today, but in 2 months you'll thank us. A little sample packet of some numbing cream. I'm not going to need it. I'm going to put it on my shelf, but I'm going to keep it. 2 months will pass, and my baby is crying all night. I'm going to reach out to the shelf instead of driving to the drugstore, and I'm going to get a good night's sleep. What's going to happen now? What brand am I going to buy? Where before, I would drive all night to find a 24-hour pharmacy and buy the first brand off the shelf I got, and maybe a name stock from a commercial. That company intercepted the transaction. They won the business before you had a chance to compete. Right? They intercepted the behavior. Instead of focusing a lot of how to change customers' behavior today, what we need to do is focus on learning them so we can intercept what they're going to do and lead them toward our companies. You're going to see a lot more of this in the industry, in every industry. Is predicting when somebody needs you or needs your services and then intercepting it before your competitors can. It lets us understand our customers. It lets us understand their behavior. It lets us develop a relationship where the messaging is relevant, where everything we talk to them about means something to them. Would you opt out from communication that's constantly understanding your needs at the right time and the right place sometimes? You're going to have people that are going to develop relationship with the brands. They're going to feel the brand knows them. They're not going to always sit there and try to focus how do they know, because I think consumers are understanding more and more they're living a lot of information out there, right? They're going on social media, they're checking into places, they're posting things, they're sharing things, they're opting into emails. The key is, what are you doing about it? One of the most incredible data points you can start looking at, that especially if you have brick and mortar, is wireless access points. There's technology now that can help you understand guest frequency, guest behavior with tracking their cell phone antenna while it's on the Wi-Fi. But here's the cool part about it. So we're together. We're moving together in a unit. If it's through a retail store or sitting together on a table in a restaurant, I now have a connection. The same thing we used to do through social. Rom is connected so. We can now do through that data. We can create a network. Who does Ram know? Who Ram comes to eat with? Are they coming alone without Ram? Do they know other people? You can create a network of connection, which leads to a brand new set of technology called Beacon. Right? If you get them to install some app, and you create some good geofencing, now you can start communicating. If I know that Ram is the connection point to 7 people, how do I communicate to Ram at the right time to bring the 7 with him into our establishment for some intercepted visit? Take it back, think about your business, think about your marketing, think about your data, and are you ready for this? Because if you're not, I'm telling you right now, a lot of big brands out there are spending a lot of money moving into that mentality, moving into the interception. And we all want to have a chance to compete. The advantage of big data today is it's more affordable than ever. You think you don't need IBM Watson anymore to do some of this analysis. You don't have to spend millions of dollars in infrastructure. Companies like Amazon, Microsoft introduced a lot of scalability in cloud technologies. Again, talk to your IT. Make sure they understand big data. Make sure they understand that big data doesn't just mean a lot of data. It actually means how we act on the data. How do we connect to the data and understand what drives the customer's behavior?